it's time for Movie Friends with your hosts Michelle and Seth. We're talking film without pretension. We're finding cats that are unexpected. We'll watch a movie, film, or schmovie, and we want you to join our journey. So subscribe and share this podcast, or this might just be the last of the Movie Friends. We're movie friends. We want to be your movie friends.
Hey, welcome to Movie Friends. I'm here with my friend Michelle Rubenstein, who is sitting in the fabled catbird seat.
And I'm here with my friend Seth Vargas, who is seeking the salad days.
I am actually.
No, me too. I think we all are a little bit, right?
Yeah, right? Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the salad days are. Why are they called the salad days? Is that the starter?
Oh, I like that explanation.
Because I just came up with that now. I don't know if that's the real answer, but...
Yeah, I didn't look into the origin of it.
Yeah.
It's just nostalgia, better times. Yeah.
It used to be people would start their meal with a salad. Now we start it with fried cheese. You know, mutt sticks.
Oh, mutt sticks. Is
Well,
that what
motts-
the pizza people call it? Yo,
A
let me
mott
get an order
stick.
of mott stick.
Yeah, everybody says mutt sticks, right?
I never
Do they not?
say mott sticks, but
What do you say, a mozzarella stick?
I don't really say that often.
Yeah, I don't like them.
I choked on one once in the restaurant with my dad sitting across the table, and he had no idea. And my sister's like, Dad. It was like,
Yeah.
out of my throat and in my throat.
Oh, yeah. I've choked on cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, It's dangerous. Anyway, what's going on?
What's going on? Seth is wearing a different beanie. I feel like this is the beanie report.
I'm wearing, yeah. I'm wearing a baby blue beanie.
It's more like a mint green.
And I call it my baby hat because when I'm wearing it, I feel like a baby.
You do look like a baby.
And I swear I didn't even think, hey, we're talking about raising Arizona. Let me grab my beanie hat. I mean, my beanie baby. My baby beanie.
Good start.
Anyway, hey, did we get any new reviews or patrons this week?
We got a new patron, Melissa. Welcome. Wow, so cool, Melissa. Hey, hi. We're so happy to have you.
Yes, hey, thank you very much for signing up. Melissa actually was a guest on a show that we did recently on Patreon. We're doing our Quentin Tarantino series, and she was on for the Jackie Brown episode.
Ooh.
Which was a lot of fun, eye-opening, and yeah. Thank you, Melissa. Melissa signed up, and she gained access to our additional series on Patreon, ad-free episodes, our Patreon Discord, voting on new episodes each month, Michelle's Inner Circle, where you get to decode messages. There's too much stuff. I think we have to like
much.
Scale back, honestly. But
We got to reel it in.
I think so, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe we'll add more stuff. I don't know.
I think that's how we roll. We'll just add it on.
Hey, we saw each other this weekend.
We
briefly.
did for a little bit. Took some pictures of you. Just you,
pictures. Just me.
Seth is the face of Movie Friends. I will be faceless.
Okay. I drove all the way to your house just so you could take some pictures of me.
That's right.
Yep. Hung out with my mom, your favorite person.
I love her so much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad she came over.
Yep. I'm borrowing some lights from Michelle because Michelle just has all this lighting
I've acquired
equipment.
a lot of lights through the years. And hey, we wrote a little something that we're going to shoot at the end of the month.
That's right. Yep. Always working, you know?
I don't think we can help it, Seth.
No. It's a compulsion, I think. Yeah.
I'm
curious, if you're listening to this, what are you working on? Shoot us an email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what your projects and your goals are, you know?
I also am just curious, do you have a hobby?
Ooh.
And do you have time for said hobby? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, the Hobby Lobby, we can call it.
No.
Oh, that's taken.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could just let us know your hobby.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, we did get one email this week.
Email.
Subject line is pig. And the message is, the last two movies that I watched back to back were 99 Homes and Cabin in the Woods. Have you seen Cabin in the Woods? horror movie.
No, I know.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I have, but then I feel like I haven't.
There you
So
go.
what a Michelle answer for you.
Back to the email. It says, this movie is so layered and smart. I should start reading an email and then we'll just do the whole episode. And whenever you say something, I'm like, well, back to that email.
That's so funny.
This movie is so layered and smart. I love movies that don't follow the formula. And Pig certainly does not follow the normal, revenge, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cage is showing his range. One of the greatest actors we've ever had. Food is love. And I agree.
Yeah.
P.S. A perfect pickle. P.S.S. Don't spread your pickle around, folks. And I disagree with that. And P.S.S.S. Let's go, Joe. You and me got this done. And that email's from Ben. And he's referring to this month that we're in, Cage March. This was a patron voted, nominated theme month. And Ben and Josie were the two who nominated it.
That's right.
So thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Ben. Always. Ben is so consistent.
The email king.
The email king. Ben, the email king. Sorry, I had to do it. I had to get it out there.
Hey, if you want to be the email prince or princess, maybe the email queen. I don't know. There's room in this kingdom for all. Wow. You can send us an email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. So before we get into our discussion today, we're going to write down what we think the other person is going to rate this movie. I think that we've said nothing to each other about Raising Arizona. Literally nothing.
I didn't even tell you I was watching it.
Nope. I don't know
As far
when
as
you
you're
watched
concerned, I didn't even watch it.
Well, I sat down in this chair to record, and as I was turning on my monitor, I thought, what movie are we doing again? And I swear I was prepared for this. All right. So Raising Arizona from Michelle. I'm riding high on last week. I guessed a 2.5 schmovie.
Unbelievable.
Arrow in the dark.
You and guns.
I was going to say, why did an arrow go? That would be a really funny gag if you were making like a Robin Hood Men in Tights, and every time someone loosed an arrow, it went. All right.
Can we work that in somewhere where we shoot arrows and that's the sound effect that goes off?
Put that into the old brain. That's pretty funny.
I'm locked in.
I'm not. I think, okay. I feel okay about this one. I'm locked in too. All right. And yeah, we're playing for pickles this year. Michelle has 2. I have 4. And we'll see if any pickles are gained over the course of this evening.
I hope so.
So today we're talking about Raising Arizona from 1987. Written and directed by Joel and Ethan Coen. Cinematography by Barry Sonnenfeld. Composed by Carter Burwell. Edited by Michael R. Miller. Costume design by Richard Hornan. Starring Nicolas Cage, Holly Hunter, John Goodman, William Forsythe, and Randall Cobb. Michelle, why don't you steal away the summary?
Nice one. H.I. McDonough has gone straight. He fell in love with a police officer, Ed, and put his law-breaking days behind him. Now the two of them are living the good life, the American dream. But when the couple find that Ed is unable to conceive, the two hatch a plan to kidnap one of the Arizona Quints. With the law and the lawless on their trail, they will get the life they want or die trying in the pursuit of Raising Arizona.
Raising Arizona, Joel and Ethan Coen, first Coen brothers film that we are doing on this show.
You know, this is Nicolas Cage month.
Yes.
But really, I feel like this episode should be about the Coen brothers.
I was a little torn on how deep to go into kind of either. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how familiar are you with the Coen brothers?
Not that familiar, to be honest with you. I've seen The Big Lebowski, but not enough to talk about it because it's been a really long time. And then they worked on Bad Santa. They're associated with it.
Yeah.
So I've seen that, and I owned that movie. I really liked that one. But besides that, I'm not too versed in the Coen brothers.
Got it. Well, I feel like they fly under the radar so often when we talk about great directors of the modern age, or really just any age, because they're a team,
Hmm.
writing, directing team, and their films are really varied. They almost always have to do with like a criminal element and like American life and how everything just kind of sucks. Like if I had to sum up kind of their deal. But if you look at their filmography, you've got Fargo, which is just, American classic. You've got Raising Arizona, The Big Lebowski, No Country for Old Men, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, A Serious Man. Like pretty serious, heavy hitting, just great movies. Like it's hard to find a movie in their filmography that like just straight up sucks. You know what I mean? Not a sports person, obviously, but I think what people would say is their batting average is quite high.
Yeah.
Like it might not be Spielberg's like, E.T., Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, but for all of those, he also has, Always and War Horse and all these movies that's kind of like, I don't really know about these. But the Coens, it's like just banger after banger with very, very few misses. We will 100% cover them at another point.
Yeah. How many have you seen?
I have seen every Coen film except for Miller's Crossing, which I own. And I just feel, and it sounds very stupid, but I always feel a little strange about like finishing out a director's filmography. Like when I finished Lynch a few years ago, it was very like bittersweet and just kind of like, wow, like that's it. I'm done, So
Mm-hmm.
I have Miller's Crossing. I've heard it's incredible and I just haven't put it in, but yeah, they're great. And this is their second movie.
Yeah. Have you? So the first one, Blood Simple,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
compared to this, because I was
Oh
doing
my
a
God.
little bit of. I felt like I was trying to do a crash course in the Coen brothers and
Yeah,
who they
yeah,
are
yeah.
as creators and their filmography. And it's hard to do a crash course on these two, honestly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But their first film compared to this one seems to be very different.
Oh, it's completely different. And an interesting thing happened. A very interesting thing happened where a few years ago they were like, you know what, we're going to pursue projects separate from each other.
Mm.
One of the like hallmarks of their work is they straddle this line between totally absurd humor and then like really, really serious, sometimes in the same film. Sometimes they'll do a film that's like mostly goofy and then the next film will be like mostly serious. And then they split up. Joel went on to direct The Tragedy of Macbeth, which is a black and white version of Macbeth starring Denzel, and it's all like it's filmed on sound stages that's like very like German expressionist. It's a gorgeous film, incredibly well acted, like serious, right? Ethan went and made Driveway Dolls, which is I can't fully talk about what the movie is because it gives away like the twist of the movie, but it's so much closer to like the Raising Arizona side. And so for years, people were kind of speculating like maybe one of them is more goofy and one of them is more serious. And then we got our answer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So with Raising Arizona, I mean, with Blood Simple, it's a fantastic, serious crime movie, really high tension, awesome scenes. There's a scene where someone goes to like bury a dead body and then they find out the person isn't dead. Like a lot of great, like serious craft work, right, goes in that movie. And then they followed up with this, which they apparently called this their sellout movie. I don't know if you saw that.
Mm-mm. No.
Yeah. Their idea was that this movie would be like the highly bankable Hollywood comedy. And one of the reasons why they centered it around a baby was because to them, they were like, oh, what do people like in movies? Like, what's just a normal popcorn, easily sellable thing? A baby. So
A
we'll make it about
baby.
a baby.
Sure.
Yep. So how did you find this movie?
Well, before I give you my answer for that,
Sure.
this came to me when I was writing my notes.
hmm
The past 3 weeks, yes, we're covering Nicolas Cage, right? But we've been covering the same common theme, which
Mm.
is love.
Whoa.
Like
Whoa.
Pig, you don't get too many things to care about.
Wow.
Love.
You're like hitting me with a love bomb here.
Vampire's kiss, right? We're seeking love and true human connection.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this movie, it's the form of what you wrote in your summary. We're chasing the American dream, we're chasing freedom, we're chasing family, we're chasing self-fulfillment, which is at the end of the day, the simple love,
Yeah, I didn't think about that at all. Yeah.
which makes it really relatable.
And it's also like a good kind of slice of the country, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we had the Pacific Northwest with
Mhm.
Pig, we've got New York City, and now we've got the Southwest with Raising Arizona. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
And that's a really cool thing about Cage's career is one, it has spanned so many decades now at this point, but two, like in the end, we will have done 6 films of Nicolas Cage in a row, and I actually have like anxiety about how that's not enough to cover his whole career.
Well, we're just covering a snippet.
Right. Like, but think about that. 6 movies.
Yeah.
And you still are we're gonna cover like half of the categories and types of roles
Yeah.
and the breadth of his range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to go back to your original question of how I felt about this.
Yeah.
So on this show, we developed our own language of schmovie, film, movie,
hmm
and I'm gonna treat this what I'm about to say like I'm just talking to my friend Seth. And if you
hmm
don't understand, maybe it'll come out as we discuss. But like honestly, Seth, I felt like I was watching a film, schmovie, movie all combined into one. This is that. This is
yeah.
those. Do
Oh.
you understand what I mean by
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry,
It's
listeners.
a bit of a revolving door of a movie of like
Yes.
ideas and tones and
Yes.
like ways of shooting things.
But like perfectly done. Perfectly executed to have the schmovie movie and film
Yeah.
all put into a pot, which could be a hot mess, but yet
Right.
instead we get this.
Right. Right.
Like I said, I haven't seen many Coen brothers movies, so this is the
hmm
second, I guess, or Bad Santa. This would be third. It seems like everything is calculated
Mm.
and everything is done with a purpose,
hmm
and also they're doing it on their terms.
Yeah. So one of the things about their films that we've learned from people who've worked on them
Mhm.
is you might look at Raising Arizona or The Big Lebowski and think like, oh, maybe there's a lot of improvising or whatever. Apparently, in The Big Lebowski, the script is written down to every hey, like everything is put in there very specifically, and they're not interested in people messing with it because they've already worked it out. So they write, they direct, and they'll edit. And so
Yeah.
to them, it's like they have the whole thing exactly how they want it. They just need you to perform it. And with Raising Arizona, that was the source of contention between them and Cage. I was listening to an interview with Cage from, I don't know, maybe 2021 or 22. And he was still referencing back to being on set and being taken aside by, I believe, Ethan. And Ethan telling him, like, hey, man, we could have cast other people in this movie.
Wow.
And how he had to be confident and say like, well, you didn't, you cast me. And so, but he wanted to improvise. They didn't really want him to. A reporter came on set, and I don't think he said it in a mean way, but he was like, yeah, like they're not really interested in the collaboration of other artists. Like they have their vision and they know exactly what they want.
Yeah. I can kind of get that.
Yeah.
Like I think like I consider you my writing partner.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would trust an edit from you if we were working on something. But like if we were working with other people on our project, I'd be like, no, Seth and
Right,
I
right, right.
wrote this. And if you were like, Michelle, will you let them? And I'll be like, all right. But like I would
Right,
only
right.
trust you with that.
Yeah.
Right? How do you feel
Yeah.
about that? I mean,
Well,
I like collaboration, but then there are certain things where there's only certain people I really trust.
yeah. Well, I think it's important to know what lines of dialogue are building blocks for other
That's
things.
true. Yes.
When we're in prison and he's laying on the bottom bunk and the guy's talking about, eating fowl and then
Mhm.
eating crawdads and then eating sand. Well, that's important for later on when he's at work and now his coworker is standing there talking to him and you hear him and then he says, in a lot of ways, work was a lot like prison. They showed you exactly how, it was because of that scene. So if you say, oh, we've got so much in the beginning with High and prison, let's cut that guy out. Filming that day, you might say, oh, yeah, we don't really have time. It's not that important to the script. We can get rid of that guy. Well, then you lose
Yeah.
not just a funny line, which is funny when High's like, you ate sand? He's like, yeah, we ate sand. But it's a building block to something. So I think it's important to know for that reason. But then on the other hand, it's like you have to be confident in what you're doing. And if you don't believe in it, nobody else is going to. And then kind of like with Pig, when we were talking about, the discussion that he has, none of these people are real because they don't know you. And they don't know you because you haven't shown them.
Mhm.
So if you're constantly buckling under everything, now they did do some collaboration. So apparently, like the hair was Cage's idea,
Okay.
and the Hawaiian shirt was his idea.
That's good. Like that.
So
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah. So they let him do a little bit,
Yeah. It must be really interesting to be an actor and show up and be like, I have my own ideas. I'm becoming this person for X amount of days, weeks, months.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you would want to put some input of how you feel, but also knowing a line of like, I was hired because they're trusting me to portray their vision.
Right. I don't understand how anyone could make a film without rehearsals.
Yeah.
If I were doing a major millions and millions of dollars and hundreds of people are showing up in 2 months to make this movie, I'd be like, okay, let's get the 6 people we need to, and we're going to run through the scenes. Because you as an actor, you prepare, right? An actor prepares, right? And so when you read the page, you have to be hearing it in a certain way. And when you're memorizing it, you have to be saying it in a certain way. So to show up that day and be like, hey, I was thinking about doing it like this. And they're like, no. Like you'd be like, well, that's all I got.
Right.
Like how can you practice something 4 ways, which I guess is another part of being an actor. But yeah, I would want to, there's no way I would do something like this without rehearsals. But, how do you rehearse John Goodman coming out of a mud pit,
Well, you just have to,
screaming at the top of his
you
lungs?
mime it. You set the scene, the birthing scene.
Well, we'll come back to
Okay.
anyway. Did you realize that you were watching an opening for 11 minutes?
I didn't.
Yeah.
And I didn't miss it. I wasn't looking for it until it appeared
Mhm.
11 minutes in. I was like, oh my God, I
Mhm.
forgot we are waiting for some sort of title card to appear. Because we were thrown right into the story. And I love that, actually.
Yeah.
It's fast paced. Hang on. Here it is
Mhm.
for you.
The first few times I watched this, I forgot about it. like every time, and then it would hit me. I'm like, oh, that's right. Oh, what a cool little thing. But this time I was expecting it, so I was like timing it, and yeah, it's about 11 minutes into the film. I love when films do this. I think it was Drive My Car does the same thing, but it's like 20 minutes into the movie. Yeah, it's interesting. Um, there's the dialogue in this film is so fast and flowery that I wanted to write down like just everything, like every little thing, like the line that I used to intro you, sitting in the fabled catbird seat. And I kept pausing it to like look things up.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that I paused to wrote down. If a frog had wings, it wouldn't bump it ass a hoppin'. I was like, wait, am I understanding this right? And I had the captions on.
When they have Nathan Jr. in the house, and he calls the couch something that like I've never heard before, and I googled it, and it's like a type of couch, but it's not the type of couch that they have.
Mm,
So it's just like, what's the funniest word for this couch that we can use? And then it's not it's delivered, like everyone delivers their lines. You know, you gotta get the dip tat.
the dip tat.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a really subtle thing. And I feel like I don't want to turn this into like quote off,
Mm-hmm.
but what Nathan says, like to be specific about the time of day, he says in the PM.
In the PM,
And
yeah.
I feel like I want to use that in my normal
Mm-hmm.
vernacular going forward. So if you're like, what
Mm-hmm.
time do you want to record? I'll say 5:30 in the PM.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's
Yep.
great.
It's really great. And somehow through the performances and the writing of all the characters, there's cohesion, but everything doesn't feel like the same voice. And
Mm-hmm.
we've been doing this Quentin Tarantino series for Patreon, right? And so I've been spending a lot of time in his head and watching his movies, and most of his characters, it just sounds like him talking. And it's a real drawback. And then as his films goes on and he progresses as a writer and a filmmaker, his characters sound less like him and more like individuals. But for a lot of the early movies, it's just like, oh yeah, this is him talking, you know. And here in only their second film, you know, Hi and Glenn can be having a conversation and it sounds like two distinct people, but they do feel like they live in the same world.
Yeah.
It's a surreal world. It's a weird it's a weird Arizona, but yeah. No, I would love if we just read every line of dialogue in this.
Do you have anything to say to the kidnappers? Yeah, watch your butts. Delivered so seriously.
Mm-hmm.
What a threat. Watch your butts.
Nathan Arizona is like the undersung hero of this movie, I feel like.
Yeah.
Trey Wilson, he's not in a ton of stuff that I've seen. He's got a part in Twins, Bull Durham, Married to the Mob. He actually passed away like a few years after this. He passed away in 1989.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah. But he's just on fire in that scene where it's the next morning and Mrs. Arizona and the other four have left, and it's him and the cops and the FBI there. He's on fire in that scene. It's so funny. Like, get your feet off that thing. And then like, what was he wearing? Jammies. I don't know.
Yoda
what was on him?
jammies.
I don't know, some Yodas. Like just that idea of some Yodas. Like what?
Yeah.
Like to Nathan Arizona, there's just like one type of fictional character thing for kids, and it's Yodas. Whatever, who cares? Oh man, it's pretty great. So and again, when you put all of the time into writing the dialogue like that, and then someone's like, "Hey, can I improvise?" I can see you saying, "No, you're not going to come up with anything funnier than, you know, yeah, watch your butt."
Watch your butts.
So Nicolas Cage, this is the month that we're talking about him. So Nicolas Cage plays H.I. McDonough. When we covered Vampire's Kiss last week, and then we did this one, I said to you, from these two movies, you will get a good sense of his range. Both of them are big, but like what a difference between Peter Lowe and H.I. McDonough.
Yeah, because this one's more, dare I say, based in reality.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
And
yeah.
like he's not. This movie does a really good job of making every single person likable, even though everybody is deeply flawed.
This is a movie about kidnapping,
I know.
and it's a comedy.
And criminals.
Yes.
Which, yes, you can make that a comedy, but you're like, I'm rooting for you to get the baby.
Mm-hmm.
I'm rooting for John Goodman and his partner to have the baby. Because at the end of the day, everybody does want what's best for the baby.
Everyone falls in love with the baby when they see the baby. That's the effect.
Yes, of baby power. I get it.
It's like Midas's touch, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, touch everything, it turns to gold. When the baby is in your presence, you just kind of like, it's like, oh, wow, wait, I want that baby. The baby is named Nathan Jr. There's 4 other kids. Larry, Gary, Harry, what is it?
Harry, Barry, Larry, and Gary. And Nathan Jr.
And then Nathan Jr.
Uh-huh.
Only one of your quints is named after you? Hi says, I got the best one, right? Ed meets the baby and just starts crying. I love him, I love him, I love him. So this one baby is named Nathan Jr. Glenn says that they're going to name him Glenn Jr. They call him Gail Jr. They call him Ed Jr. Everyone like latches on to this baby being like theirs and like part of them, and like they want to give this baby their name. The criminals, who William Forsythe and John Goodman, who originally are just like, we're taking this baby for the money, whatever. After spending time with it, it's like, oh my God, I love this baby.
Mm-hmm.
William Forsythe first, and then later John Goodman, he's like, actually, it's kind of great once you get to know him or whatever. And so yeah, it's like this like magical effect, and it's kind of like subtle how it happens. And Glenn, who's like just a scumbag, goes from being like, hey, I'm gonna take this baby for the reward money, to just being like, actually, I just want the baby. Like, we just want the baby, and we're gonna have the baby.
Yeah, because theirs are getting too old to cuddle.
Too old to cuddle.
So we need another young one.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, this almost feels like a challenge. Like if someone said, hey, write a comedy about kidnapping a baby. And how would you do that? How can you make these people likable?
And root for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, oh, wait, I'm rooting for the manhunter. I'm rooting for Leonard Smalls because, the baby should go back to the respective parents.
Mm-hmm. But if he won't pay more, he's going to sell them on the black market.
Well,
which is pretty wild.
Man's got to do what he's got to do.
Yeah. And then you learn that Leonard Smalls himself was sold on the black market. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's got some ish.
Well, he carries around his own baby booties.
Yeah.
Yeah. People used to do that. They would have their baby booties, and then they would dip them in bronze or brass.
I know my aunt, she had hers in bronze.
What?
And then, do you remember, this was like a thing where you could fill out a card to have your booties dipped. Like, how in the supermarket or different stores, there was like little cards and you can fill out so people would call you to give you the information for different products and services. My sister would fill these out all the time. And so my parents would get calls back, oh, are you interested in having your shoes dipped in bronze?
Oh, got it. Oh, that's really smart.
Is that smart? That's not smart. That's annoying for...
Well, no, it's not smart of a child to fill out baby booty cards, but that's smart of a business to just be like, here you go. Yeah. Never heard of that. Anyway, Peter Lowe from Vampire's Kiss to H.I. McDonough in this one. What wildly different people. And you could say that both of them are kind of like wild and crazy and over the top and like, wild-eyed cage, but just such different.
So different.
Yeah, absolutely. Who do you think would win in a fight?
That's a great question. I don't know because I feel like HI, he doesn't carry a loaded weapon.
Right. Never, never.
He's only doing an act of violence to escape or if he needs to.
Mhm.
And
So
then
much so that when he pulls the pin on Leonard Smalls later, he says sorry.
I know. So there's like
Mhm.
the humanity in it. And Peter, I feel like would just imagine the whole thing.
Right.
And then HI would just view him imagining
Mhm.
the fight.
Right. Peter would beat himself up while High
Correct.
watches, and he's like,
Correct.
"What's going on?"
Yeah.
Mhm. Another great line that just popped into my head. Son, you got a panty on your head. Oh my God. But yeah, I love Nicolas Cage in this. I love the whole look. Falling in love with a police officer as you're getting booked multiple times. The only thing that I think is crappy about High is when his friends show up and he's like too chicken to be like, you guys got to leave.
I don't know. I kind of get that. You had a
Yeah.
relationship with these guys. Yeah. And you want to help your friends. And you're kind of like balancing this weird line of I want to be respectful to my wife and our new child,
Mhm.
but also these are my friends.
Mhm.
I get it. I get it.
I get it, but I think it's crappy. You gotta
Well, yeah. But,
pick a
they
side, High.
just stole a kid. So
Right. So Holly Hunter as Edwina.
I love her.
She's so funny.
She's so great. And in the beginning, when he's courting her in his way,
Mhm.
you're like, she seems so tough and almost like, is she the straight and narrow?
Mhm.
But it's like, no, I need a baby. I need a
Mhm.
baby. You need to get me the baby. And
Mhm.
so it's her plan. It's not his plan. It's not the criminal's plan to steal the baby. It's her plan.
Right.
And so you're like, oh, you're also deeply flawed, even though you're a cop. And of course, cops are just people and people can be flawed. And I'm not saying cops are above the law, but I thought that was like an interesting twist.
Mhm. Mhm.
Not a
Well, she's
twist, but you
so
know what I mean.
she's so devastated. He says she tendered her badge.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like she came up with this plan and then was like, "Oh, I can't do this as a cop." Like she had already kind of left it behind, kind of like what is the purpose of life? What am I doing? And yeah, and again, it's kind of like to bring up the point of, hey, make a comedy about kidnapping a baby. It's like, hey, let's put in a woman who's unable to have kids into this comedic caper,
Mm-hmm.
and how they pull that off. And again, it's kind of like through High's flowery language where what does he say? Her womb was a rocky place where my seed could find no purchase.
Yeah, it was like he used a valley. He quoted
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee Valley,
Yeah,
something like that.
it's
Yeah, it's pretty great. But
yeah. So hey, if you're struggling out there to put, like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, you can do it. You just gotta think creatively.
just find some quints.
Turns out everything is funny. Oh wait, I was talking about writing a script.
Oh, I thought you were talking about stealing a baby.
No, don't steal a baby. Don't steal a baby. I think
No,
I can
don't
say
steal a
that.
baby. No,
Yeah.
bad joke on my part.
And then mixed in with all the funny stuff, there's like really kind of poignant thoughts. Like at one point he says there was too much love and beauty for the two of us, and every day that we kept a child out of it might be a day that they later regret. It's like, oh my God, like holy cow. That's how I feel about having kids. Because like I have a kid and I'm like, wow, this kid is so happy and they get to do things and learn things. There could be another kid who could also be doing and learning things. And they're not here because I don't want them to be here. Oh no.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was curious. Also, I feel like this message, and I don't think the Coen brothers had kids or if we're planning on,
No, I don't think so. No.
family planning when they wrote this, but the theme of becoming a new parent and all the things you don't know. And I can imagine being very overwhelming. I mean, when they're having lunch with Dot, and Dot was like, the dip tet, and you got to set up the bank accounts, and
Oh
you
my
got to,
God.
what if the baby gets sick? We got like all of these things. And I see it from my, through my sister's eyes because she has kids. And so that was very interesting to have that theme in there as well. Like, it's
Oh yeah.
scary to have kids. Scary what you don't know.
I mean, look, they don't tell you until you read about it, but like you're not supposed to give kids honey
Yeah.
until they're a year.
What the heck?
And it's like, wait a minute. Why isn't every bottle of honey sold in stores? Why isn't there a big label on the front that says no babies? Hey, if you have this, don't give this to a baby.
Like, it should say not for baby consumption.
Yes, absolutely. So if you just
Whoa.
give a baby honey, they just can't process that. Feels like it should be universal knowledge. So then when you're having a kid and you learn things like that, then it makes everything scary.
Yeah.
Because you're like, wait, honey is bad? What else is bad?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, Dot, I think is definitely going, I think she's being presented to us as going a little overboard. But legitimately, it's like you do have to have a doctor and you do have to have your vaccine schedule and you do have to, it's like, oh man. Yeah, you got to think about all these things that you've never thought about before because you were too young to remember them.
Right. And it's just so much more than, living this life and you want it to be beautiful for a kid. It's like, oh, wait, I got to nurture and care for this kid too.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's kind of weird. I never thought about it like that. But like we were too young to remember how to raise a kid because we can't remember being raised. So every person has to relearn for themselves, even though you've gone through it. Like you, Michelle, were raised. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But even though you've experienced the one side of it, you have to learn it from the beginning when you go to raise somebody.
Well, you have
I never
to
thought
learn.
about it like that.
Yeah, you have to learn the other side of it.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that sucks.
I mean, again,
it works out, I guess.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, they didn't really think it through because they don't have a name for the kid, They obviously can't be like, hey, this is Nathan Jr. I mean, not the name of that kid who was just kidnapped very famously.
Yeah.
Okay, so John Goodman and William Forsythe.
I love
Evel and Gail. And I kept thinking that they were saying Neville. I was like, that's a name. No, it's Evel.
I also thought it was Neville, so I'm with you on that.
Okay, so you're watching this movie, fun intro, haha, Holly Hunter, Nicolas Cage, Looney Tunes, a little bit of Evil Dead footage style shooting when we're flying through the road and then up into the window and the woman screaming. Haha, okay, great. And then it cuts to this mud hole.
The birth canal.
And John Goodman crawls out. What are you doing and thinking?
I mean, this is me. I look like
Michelle
a guppy,
just made
friends.
a dumbfounded look.
Yeah. Wow, wow, wow.
What is the reference point for this experience? Other than, I mean, you already said it. It's the birth canal, right?
Yeah, I think we're making our way to freedom. So it's a rebirth.
Mm-hmm.
The style of it being through mud.
Mm-hmm. Which we later find out is actually poop.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just for comedic purposes, and the performance of the screaming, but also like pulling Evel out
by the ankle.
This is what I'm saying. This is the schmovie part.
Mm-hmm.
This is schmovie written all over it.
It's like, all right, I've seen people escape from prison before.
Sure.
So yeah. So imagine like you're John Goodman, right? And like, okay, so for this scene, you just tunneled out and you've escaped from prison and it's raining. So you as an actor, you're like, okay, all right, so do I like stand up and raise my arms to the air and I'm like glad to be free? Do I kiss the ground? Do I sneak away quietly? And they're like, all right, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna scream as if you just like killed a lion with your bare hands and like live to tell the tale. It's nuts. I think it's my favorite part of this movie because it
Is
just
it?
confounds it confounds me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so weird and such a weird choice.
So weird. Nick goes on for a
It
while.
goes on for
And
a
then when you
really long
realize, oh,
time.
Evel?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, Evel has to get out, and the way he's pulled out.
Mm-hmm. How did he end up upside down?
How did he do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's pretty amazing. So yeah, they're old friends of Pi from the penitentiary. Quick note on that: I love the parole board when they meet with Hi each time. There's a name for people like you, Hi. Recidivism. Repeat offender. Do you like that? No, sir. It's a terrible name. Yeah, pretty great. So they're planning a heist. They want Hi in on it. They want to be able to stay there and eat all the cereal. I think Evel says like, wonderful cereal flakes, ma'am, or something like that, complimenting her on the cornflakes. At one point we cut back to the trailer when they're there and they're just watching opera.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a fun
It's
little
like that's
choice.
what was available, came through. They
Mhm.
chose to do this.
They want Hi to help them with this big bank heist, but then they overhear Glenn saying, hey, that's the Arizona baby and I'm going to turn on you. So then they decide to take the baby for themselves. Then they rob a mini mart and they leave the baby on the roof. And then we have another scene of them just yelling guttural.
Everybody's yelling in this movie but the babies.
Yes, that's right. Oh yeah, Nathan Jr. is just like the most chill,
So
calm,
chill. He
all
even
the way
like
through.
pulls his hood in front of his face.
Pulls his hoodie, yeah.
What a
Yeah.
star baby.
I know. Great baby acting.
Great baby. I'm sure there were multiple babies, but whichever one
There
did the
were,
hood trick, that was pretty great.
So I think there was 15 babies in total.
Wow.
And the babies are barely in this movie, right? Like, how long are they really in this?
Yeah.
Maybe 4 minutes of screen time? 3 minutes of screen time?
You think? You think that's it?
Yeah. Well, not Nathan Jr.
Oh,
I just mean
the
all
other
the babies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was 15 babies to play all
Sure.
of them. And then once Nathan Jr. is kind of pulled out from that bunch, it's the same baby throughout the movie. But they said it was horrible to film with all these kids. And when a baby learned to walk, they had to let the baby go from production because it wasn't just like crawling around anymore. One parent put the wrong shoes on the baby's feet so that it wouldn't walk. Like right foot, left foot, switched them. Isn't that insane?
Yes. Stage moms or dads are nuts.
Like, how badly do you need your baby to be in Raising Arizona for one scene?
Right.
That you're like, I'll just, permanently alter their development.
Right. I don't want you to do this major life milestone right now.
Crazy. So yeah, they leave him on the roof. And he actually was on the roof and fell off, and I guess is just okay.
Yeah. At no point is the baby in actual harm, even though the baby's going through like a lot of intense scenes. I mean, the car sequence, that whole with Ed driving the car and we're spinning out of control, and then the baby,
guns and the dogs.
That whole situation. Again, that scene, I was the whole time I'm not even kidding you. I had to like close my jaw. I'm like, Michelle, close your mouth. You look like a guppy. But yeah, but at that point, you're like, "Okay, I know the baby's not actually in harm." And I don't
Mhm.
mean that, like, in real life. I get everybody cares for the baby, and this is just the tone of the movie. The baby's going on an adventure. This feels like an animated series. This feels like it could be like King of the Hill, it could be like The Simpsons, it could be like Bob's
Mm.
Burgers. This is what this feels like, only it's live action.
Right. This is like the better Baby's Day Out.
Yeah.
The movie, at times, like you mentioned, we're kind of like on this revolving door of styles. When we're in the Arizona's house, it's like almost fisheye lens.
Mhm. Mhm.
Very heightened color. I mean, the colors are just like super, super saturated, and it's almost like High has entered Wonderland. Instead of going down a rabbit hole into Wonderland, he like goes up this ladder, and it's just like a totally different world and like style of filming, and it's like Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great, and he does a good job of uh kind of making his body bigger, with the hair and like the wild frantic movements, and yeah, it's great. So Leonard Smalls, we already kind of mentioned him. He was sold as a baby on the black market. Got a tattoo. Uh, Mother didn't love me, I think.
Mhm.
He says he will find the baby for more money, but if not, he's going to find the baby anyway and sell it on the black market. So this was a good setup for like an out for High and Ed at the end, because Nathan Arizona thinks that he's been behind this the whole time. He's like, "Oh, it's Leonard Smalls. He kidnapped the baby, and now he's extorting me, whatever." And we almost get there. Like when they return the baby, they say, "Yeah, we took it from that guy." And so it's like, "Oh, okay." And then he realizes, he's like, "Wait, you took the baby?" And then they fess up to it.
Yeah, cuz
So
they're
how
yeah.
did you feel about that scene and interaction?
I liked it.
Mhm.
Because again, like, yes, they're flawed humans, but they're not bad people. And that's the difference. And so they know what's right at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Sometimes maybe it just takes them a little bit to get there.
I don't know, and this might be a controversial take. I don't know that they're not bad people.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add to support
I
your
mean,
argument?
they kidnap a baby.
Well, right, but their heart is in the right place. They do want a baby.
Mm.
They're not kidnapping the baby. Like when they get the baby, like she's just like there's a scene where Ed is singing to the baby and they're trying to figure out how to care
Yeah,
for the baby.
singing a song to the baby about someone who's about to be hung because they murdered somebody.
It takes a little while for them to get there, but they have good intentions, and so they realize the baby should go back to where the baby belongs.
I think that where they end up is a place where they can be good people. And I think that's what he realizes like in his dream.
Mhm.
But like I don't know. I'm not trying to. I am not trying to take raising Arizona too seriously.
Yeah, we
Trust
can't.
trust me. But as a parent, I don't care why you're kidnapping my kid. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I don't think we can't like, yes, this I said at the top of the show that Nicolas Cage's character compared to Vampire's Kiss is more based in reality.
well,
But
that's
but
compared to
but
Vampire's Kiss. Like
yeah,
anything Looney Tunes is more based in reality
yes, I
than
know
that.
that, but
Yeah.
this movie's not it's, like, not realistic. There's just themes that are relatable.
There's movies that you can apply real world morals to, and then there's ones that you can't.
Exactly. There you go. You said it so much nicer than I did.
Yeah. But that's a real struggle that people have is like, well, this doesn't portray something the way that I want it to, or this isn't accept, or it's like, I can't remember what we were talking about, but we were saying like, you talk to someone and it's like, oh, did you like the movie? It's like, yeah, but I didn't like all the killing. It's like, okay, well, that's part of the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sitting here trying to say Raising Arizona would have been good if they didn't kidnap that Arizona baby. That's the movie. That is the movie.
So, okay, on that point then, the ending scene, not the end, but the scene we're talking about where they return the baby and Nathan lets them go, how would you have liked that to go?
Oh no, I think it's genius the way that it goes.
Oh.
It's wonderful. A lesser confident or, interesting writer would have seen that out that was written for them. Oh, well, just blame it all on Leonard Smalls, and at the end of the day, they get the reward money and they can be like, yeah, it wasn't us all along, kind of a thing. And the movie ends on a happy note. Maybe they take that 25 grand and use it on like IVF or something, and then they have a kid, right? This one, no, they're like, well, what if this happened? And then let's explore that. And then they go down that route and they actually do it. And Nathan Arizona, this really goofy, weird, multi-layered character, ends up like giving them advice to stay together.
Yeah, sleep on it.
And reflects on the love of his own wife, who we haven't really seen him be loving to. You know what I mean? It's just so much more interesting the way that this goes.
And so we give the advice, which is good advice.
Mm-hmm.
And then we end it, leave the way you came in.
Right.
And I love that we end on that, which is the ladder that's, up to the window.
Yep. I think, intentional or not, it's a little picture of the people who have money and who don't have money.
Yes.
Ascending this ladder into this different alternate world of plenty and excess and, whatever. So, yeah.
I think also it shows that a baby will not fix a relationship.
Well, oh man, I mean, yeah, that's...
Well, in this story though, because they're struggling and they think all they need is a baby, and then they get the baby and there's still problems in our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Like Hai is not satisfied. That's why he goes to rob the convenience store, because he still needs to feel some life in him.
I love that line. He's like, I would even drive by convenience stores that weren't on the way home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, no, a baby won't fix anything. A baby ruins everything. Actually, you gotta...
Yeah.
You gotta... I always say, like, you're never going to be prepared to have a baby. Like, whenever people are like, oh, we just need to do X, Y, and Z. It ain't ever going to happen. I'll give you a great example. My wife and I decided to have a second baby. And you know what we waited for? 2020. We literally said, 2020, this will be the perfect year to have a baby. So nothing matters.
Mm-hmm.
You can't.
Mm-hmm.
But you do need to make sure that whatever situation you're about to put a baby into can withstand a lot of destruction, because they're tough, man. They're very, very tough. Just to back up a little bit, I feel like the movie does start to lose a little steam. I don't love the final confrontation between Leonard and Ed and Hai. That's the only part of the movie that feels a little out of place to me. Like, kind of ending it with like an actual big showdown fight, like actual like physical fight. It ends in a really interesting place where he pulls the pin and he says, like, I'm sorry. And he looks like he actually is sorry.
I think he is.
That's interesting. But just coming down to a street fight, I kind of was like, not really loving that. In that scene with Nathan and them, he says, I don't know much, but I do know human beings. You brought back my boy, so you must have your good points too. I sure hate to think of Florence leaving me. I do love her so. And so it's like, oh my God, there's like another layer to this guy.
Yeah.
We've only seen him yelling at his employees and yeah. What did you think about High's dream and his explanation of his dream and everything?
I liked it. I liked it. And then, ending with maybe it was Utah. I think just this. No, I think it really stands for that this can exist anywhere.
Okay.
That's how I took it. Like this dream of we worked it out, we stayed together. There were lots of kids, there were lots of grandkids. This was like the true happiness we were seeking, and we just hit a rough time. And I don't know, maybe it was Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Means that this could happen anywhere.
Very interesting.
I could be wrong.
No, I mean, I don't really have any feeling about it. I think it's very funny.
Mhm.
It's kind of like, you know how when you need to like say something meaningful or sentimental or whatever, and then you just kind of can't help but throw in a little punchline at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me like every moment of my life,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
So this feels a little bit like that because I mean the music is so like nice and it's kind of like all wrapping up. I wrote it down if I can read it. He says, "That night I had a dream that I was light as the ether, a floating spirit, visiting things to come. The shades and shadow of the people in my life wrestled their way into my slumber. I dreamt that Gale and Neville had decided to return to prison. Probably that's just as well. I don't mean to sound superior, and they're a swell couple guys, but maybe they weren't ready yet to come out into the world. And then I dreamed on, into the future, to a Christmas morning in the Arizona home, where Nathan Jr. was opening a present from a kindly couple who preferred to remain unknown. I saw Glenn a few years later, still having no luck getting the cops to listen to his wild tales about me and Ed. Maybe he threw in one Polak joke too many. I don't know. And still I dreamed on, further into the future than I'd ever dreamed before. Watching Nathan Jr.'s progress from afar, taking pride in his accomplishments as if he were our own, wondering if he ever thought of us, and hoping that maybe we'd broadened his horizons a little, even if he couldn't remember just how they'd got broadened. But still, I hadn't dreamed nothing about me and Ed until the end. And this was cloudier, 'cause it was years, years away, but I saw an old couple being visited by their children, and all their grandchildren, too. The old couple wasn't screwed up, and neither was their kids or their grandkids. And I don't know, you tell me. This whole dream, was it wishful thinking? Was I just fleeing reality like I know I'm liable to do? But me and Ed, we can be good too. And it seemed real. It seemed like us. And it seemed like, well, our home. If not Arizona, then a land not too far away, where all parents are strong and wise and capable, and all children are happy and beloved. Now, if you stop there, like where we kind of go from, it's kind of like ramping up like the earnestness and the sincerity, from like I dreamt that they went back to prison and I dreamt that, he's dreaming about Glenn and like all this kind of like funny stuff. But to be like, yeah, this was a place where all parents are strong and wise and capable and all children are happy and beloved. Like that's a great dream. And like that's what he's saying like his future and stuff is, And then you end it with, I don't know, maybe it was you.
If we don't end it with maybe it was Utah, then it's not Raising Arizona.
I agree 100%.
That line solidifies the tone of this movie.
Yes.
And HI is a poet.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he speaks, I mean, in the beginning of that monologue of his, that voiceover, it sounds like it's a poem.
Mm-hmm.
And like you keep saying, it's flowery language, like yes. And then you get in these like, I don't know, maybe it was for the best. So there's this balance, and I think that is the beauty of Raising Arizona.
You get, son, you got a panty on your head. You know? Yeah, I agree. But yeah, that's a great, I love that. I love that final moment. And it's like, we do get him talking about dreaming. And so it doesn't come quite from like far left field. I've heard a theory that this whole thing is a dream.
Okay.
That, it's curious that he and Leonard have the same tattoo.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of that. other than maybe it's just a funny little gag.
I know. I'm like, are you guys related somehow?
Yeah, related, or it's like you're two sides of the same coin. I don't know. Like, I don't really know what to make of it, other than it is funny when you see, because he sees it and he's like, "What?"
Yeah, right. Or is that a figment of his imagination? So then that supports the dream
Right.
theory.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, he did steal a baby, and this guy's trying to steal a baby.
Right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to talk about when the guys go to rob the bank.
Uh huh.
And like, okay, so everything is so fast, so fast, so fast. And then for the movie to get interrupted on purpose with the one of the patrons of the banks, the guys walk in and they say, "Put them up,
Hmm.
freeze, get on the ground."
Yep.
And so then nobody moves, and there's an older gentleman who's like, "Well, do you want us to freeze or get on the ground? Because if you want us to freeze, then we can't get on the ground." That is so funny.
And if I get on the ground, I'll be in motion.
And so it like literally stops like the flow of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that was so good. That is
Yeah.
so good.
I tried to understand when they were explaining it. It's like, oh, there's a seed bank, and
Yeah, with
it's like,
farmers.
are they robbing seeds? But no, apparently not.
Yeah, no. Oh, and then I did like when Leonard goes to the trailer and he's like squinting and then you just see fart written on the wall.
Yeah, everything with Glenn and Dot's kids is really funny.
Even
Like they show
Glenn has a sticker on his car that says "Caution, I drive naked."
Glenn is Neil's dad from Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah,
Dr. Schreiber.
he's also Chandler's boss on Friends.
Oh, okay.
Not that
I
you
don't
know
know.
that, but
Friends is a world
I know.
I'm not a part of. Movie Friends,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But yeah, when they first show up and like they're just at the door, and then he turns around and he's like, "Get away from his car!" And they're all like on it, like banging. Yeah, yeah. And then the kid just like with a filthy face, just like writing fart on the wall. It's great. It's awesome. So this movie was made for $5 million. Went on to make $29 million at the box office. So it worked. You know, their gamble on a baby did work.
Mm-hmm.
Currently has a 91 on Rotten Tomatoes, 3.9 on Letterboxd, which is a little surprising. It's not an even 4, but whatever. 69 on Metacritic, which is like, okay. This is not in the Criterion Collection, nor is it in the National Film Registry, which I think is a mistake. Ebert gave this 1.5 stars when he saw this.
Oh, wow. So it was not flying for Ebert. And I'm sure a lot of
No.
people were like, I don't know what to do with this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And he said I wrote down he didn't like how they talked and that the movie seemed to not be grounded in reality.
I mean, like, how many movies in 1987 are grounded in reality?
I'm kind of surprised that he didn't get it to like this degree.
Yeah.
You know, like I could see if he was like, "Oh, this is a madcap weird movie and it might not be for everybody. It wasn't for me." But like he just didn't understand at all. Like yeah, he did not get this one. Which is weird because I feel like some of the humor is real like meat and potatoes, just you see it and it's funny. Why is it funny that they're yelling out of the mud? I can't explain it to you. It just is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go into our happies and crappies.
It's time for happies and crappies. Happies and crappies. It's time for happies and crappies. Happies and crappies. It's time for happies and
So for me, I've got a lot of happies for this one, but I'm just gonna say the intro. I love the intro and dropping your title card 11 minutes in, and the
yodeling's so good.
I think it's really, really funny. I love that. And then my crappy, I kind of mentioned It's just kind of like the third act, I guess. Pretty much like once. I think it's really great up until like the blue bomb goes off, and then we move into like the final confrontation with Leonard Smalls. And then it picks right back up again though when they return Nathan Jr. Wow, what about you?
My happy is that HI's name is Herbert.
Yes.
I got a good chuckle out of that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a crappy. I know.
Wow.
Wait. You didn't tell me why you chose this movie. This is your pick this month. So that's my crappy. You did not tell me why you chose this and why we
That's right.
watched this.
Okay, yeah. Sorry. We just kind of jumped right into it.
I know.
Kind of like Raising Arizona.
Yes.
Well, my pick this month would have been Pig.
Oh.
And so because that was voted in at the end of last month, I was like, oh, wow, I get like a freebie here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mentioned last episode that I'm doing 25 new to me Cage films this month. I think I'm through 10 of them. So I might expand that to 30 if I can. 30 films. I feel like I may have like rose-colored glasses when it comes to Cage films, where there's a lot of stuff that I've watched him in that's like, whoa, this is a rough movie, but I enjoy his performance, so it's made better. Raising Arizona, I don't feel like that at all. Like I feel like this is just bona fide, awesome, a great time. Like I said, it's kind of like undeniable. It's Looney Tunes. It's mythology. It's poetry. It's base level human emotions. We can all, if you can't relate to like the pain of not being able to have a kid or even imagine that pain, if you can't imagine wanting to be a better person and not being able to stop, there's a lot. Yeah. So I feel like this movie's kind of undeniable. So that's why it was my pick.
Did you grow up with it?
No, I watched this when my wife and I got married. She had actually seen it growing up.
Nice.
Yeah, she watched it growing up. And so this was a movie she introduced to me. And we watched it last night on the couch and laughed. And she's like, this is just a great movie. Like, how can anyone not like this?
Yeah.
Speaking of people who didn't like this, we asked our friends on Twitter and Instagram what they thought. The Power of John at John Cleta.
Hey, John.
Or Clyda. I'm not sure. We've heard from him before. And I think I asked, I was like, can you give us some clarification on this last name?
Come through, John.
Come on. Give us the Power of John.
I just keep thinking about my old email address. The Power of Tomato.
Ah, what a good email.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they say, I remember when I watched this movie for the first time, all I could think was, what the hell am I watching? I'd never seen anything with this sort of grittiness combined with such oddball humor. It feels like a real-life cartoon in the best way.
Yes.
Yes. Trash Panda at Haha Funny Kyle.
Funny Kyle. Thanks for reaching out, Kyle.
I think Trash Panda just joined the Three Timers Club.
I think so.
They say Cage is the living embodiment of Wile E. Coyote in this flick. It's sincerely one of the most entertaining and rewatchable movies I've ever seen. J Toth P83 says Knuckles scraping on a popcorn ceiling. Still cringe when I see that. Been there.
Yes. Oh god.
I do like the fight in the trailer and how they really sat down to imagine like what would happen if you actually had like a huge knockdown fight in a trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like they're going to punch and like hitting their elbow into the wall behind them, and yeah. Chelsea Nico, hey, she was a guest on this show when
Chelsea.
I did Challengers.
Nice.
She says, still my favorite Nick Cage performance, and it's close to one of mine. Andrew Corns, he's the host of the Revisionist Almanac podcast.
Hey, friend.
I'm recording with him on the year 1999 this Sunday.
Oh, what a good year for movies.
I know. And he sent me the outline for this episode like a year ago. Close to a year ago.
I'm even
And I remember
more amazed by him.
when I got that email, I laughed and I was like, this is like a year away. I literally am not going to look at this until like the night before.
Wow. 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 Wow.
But I have been doing my homework because you can't watch 40 movies in 1 week, unfortunately. So I've been in the 1999
Wow.
headspace. Actually, after doing this episode, no one cares about this, but after doing this episode, I will have seen more movies from 1999 than any other year.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been good. Anyway, he says, just some good old fashioned Coen Bros quirky fun. So there's some people that we do know. Now we go to a segment of the show where we hear from people that we don't know. It's called Half Star, 3-Star, 5-Star. All right, these are reviews from letterboxd.com, which is a website and an app where you can rate, record, and review movies. We start with a half-star review, which is the lowest rating that you can give a film. We go all the way up to a 5-star review, which is the highest rating that you can give a film. And do you have a request for the half-star?
I don't. I mean, it's like, do you do HI? Do you do, I don't know, Seth. What do you feel like doing?
I'm going to try to do the parole officer.
Okay.
I think I could do high. I don't know. Maybe it was Utah. No, that was terrible. That wasn't Texas.
It just sounds like you.
Arizona at all. Yeah. I believe I walked out of this movie. Either that or I wanted to leave very badly. If I actually stayed in this movie, I only stayed in body, not in mind.
That was the most perfect voice for that review.
I think I should have been a little bit more high pitched, but yeah, that's the parole board guy. If I actually stayed in this movie, I only stayed in body, not in mind.
What is
That's
something
great.
you've experienced where you're in body but not in mind?
Work every day, driving every day. You ever drive and then find yourself miles down the road and you're like,
How did
wait,
I get here?
wait.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I shouldn't be driving a
I
vehicle.
know.
Yeah. It's very, very unfortunate. See, that's funny because when I hate a movie, I can't leave it. Like, it's like a pain in my brain that it's bothering me so much.
Yeah, I become very reactive. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm like even more immersed in it because I hate
Yes.
it so much.
Yes. And I'm Mr. like silver lining. So I'm like trying to find, I'm like, please have meaning.
Yeah, I know.
Reveal a connection to something previously revealed to us.
Yes.
So that I can glean something of worth from your film. Yeah. 3-star review says, on a first watch of this, it just feels more strange and bizarre than anything. I have no doubt that this will be much better on a second viewing when I know what to expect. Cage is at his best here, though. We'll watch again for the hair alone. Okay.
Okay.
5-star review says, when H.I. pauses to reflect on the fact that Leonard Smalls has the same tattoo as him, a Roadrunner, it confirms that Smalls may be cut from the same cloth as him. David Lynch exercised his fears of settling down and fathering a child with a mutant baby and a lady in a radiator. The Coens try to catch and tame Wile E. Coyote by having him confront and blow up the worst part of his nature. He eventually comes to the conclusion, Ed and I, we can be good. Very good.
Very good.
Yep. All right, so we rate a movie as a schmovie, a movie, or a film. We rate it 1 through 5 stars, give our final notes and recommendations. You won last week? No, I won last
No,
week.
you won last week.
Yeah, so you reveal me
Yeah.
first?
Okay.
Okay.
For you, I wrote down 4-star movie.
Very good.
Do I win a pickle?
You do.
Yes.
You win a pickle. Yeah, and I it's funny because as I was talking and saying like this movie's undeniable, it's so blah blah blah. I was like, oh, it probably sounds like I'm gonna say this is like a 5-star movie or something.
Mm-mm.
I don't think so. And that is perfectly okay.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Yes. So yeah, this is a 4-star movie. It's so freaking good, man. Like I highly recommend it. I would recommend this movie to everybody. There might be some flowery language, but for the most part, this is like close to a kid's movie. Like this would be a great intro to like, hey, not movies necessarily geared towards kids for like a 13-year-old kid. You know what I mean?
Has Job seen this?
No. He's not 13 yet.
Oh, true.
I think this is PG-13.
I don't know the rating for this one.
Yeah. But like I feel like this is a good like, hey, this is a movie made for grown-ups. And hey, I like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I recommend everybody watch it. Cage is great. Dude playing Nathan Arizona, awesome. Holly Hunter rules. John Goodman rules. It's great. Awesome movie. For you, which now I fear I'm not winning a pickle, I wrote down 4-star movie.
You're right.
No way! For real?
Oh my gosh, jeez.
Nice. I'm on a pickle roll.
Wow. Crack that jar open.
My pickle is rolling. Well, but we both won.
I know we both get pickles.
If we go to our pickle tally really quick. Michelle has 3 and I have 5.
Still behind though.
That's okay. So yeah, 4-star movie.
4-star movie. Yeah, I'm also recommending this. This is a good time. This is super funny. It's super smart. And there's heart in it. And it feels like a movie film all in one. This is like the perfect example of all 3 of those art forms in Michelle's mind in one piece of content.
Nice.
Yeah. I wish Aunt watched this with me.
We have had movie films. We've had movie film. You know, we've had 2. I don't know that we've ever had.
I've never had the trifecta.
All 3. Yeah.
I've never had the trifecta. So this is like a perfect example of it.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So on our pickle rating scale, a 4 is a dill pickle.
Yum.
And every time we talk about this, I'm like, I need to bring pickles up here to record. Because once we get to this part of the show, I'm like, I just want a pickle.
I know.
All right. Does Raising Arizona pass the Seth Shell test? The Seth Shell test is our twist on the Bechdel test. And the criteria is that this movie must contain something tangible that is impressive, whether choreography, production design, or a practical effect, and it must have a runtime that is justified by its content. Yes, I think that this movie could be like 20 minutes longer, and I would still love it. I could listen to that guy talking about eating sand, and then the other guy talking about seeing a UFO. Like all those like weird little moments.
Need more of
if you
them.
just filled in way more, I would love it. And then yeah, I think that like the production design is great, and to single something out, I love the effect where they're zooming up to the baby and then break, and you can kind of tell how they did it, but it's still, pretty cool.
Yeah. This is also a yes for me as well. That whole car sequence where we're going to get Huggies and we have the dogs and just running through people's houses and the people inside the houses not reacting. And what's so good about that sequence, well, there's a lot. There's so much happening. But when Hy gets back in the car and he's, they're going back and forth, him and Ed, but then he's just like, oh, turn right up here. The demeanor changes. It is so good. It's just so good.
Hey, if you think that we're so good, we'd love it if you give us a rating and a review wherever you're listening. 5 stars, 1 star. Oh no, don't do that.
Don't do that.
But whatever.
Well, don't.
We'd also love it if you send us an email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought about Raising Arizona or the Coen brothers. Hey, what Coen brothers movie should we do next? There's a lot of them. Personally, I would love to do Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I have 2 thoughts about that movie.
Oh, okay.
Either one, it's a war movie, or 2, it's a folk music movie. I don't know where I got those thoughts from.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
And
All right.
3, George Clooney's in it.
That is correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Yep. There's a little bit of,
all of it?
I wouldn't say war,
War on life.
but there's a war on life. Yes. War. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
George Clooney's in it, and he's great in that movie. I would also love to do Burn After Reading, which is a very underrated. Jean Marie and I, my wife and I, have seen that movie maybe more times together than any other movie.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. Anyway, send us an email. You can also support the show, patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. $5 a month gets you access to all of our additional shows. We're wrapping up our series on Seventh Heaven.
Is
Holy
anybody
cow.
listening to that?
1 episode per season. It's basically just Michelle and I yelling the whole time. We've also got Ghibli Gabs, where we discuss the films of Studio Ghibli. We've also got every episode of Freaks and Geeks covered on our show Weirdcast. We've got horror movies, action movies. I think we're up to six different things on there. There's a lot of stuff going on. You also get ad-free episodes. So if you listen to this and you're like, I don't want to listen to ads, well, there's an option for that too. You also get to vote on monthly episodes and quarterly themes like Cage March. That is a quarterly theme. And you get to be our best friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you get to support an independent podcaster.
You get to support an independent podcast, which has been your dream, I think, since childhood. You know,
I think so.
When you were sitting around on the dugout at the Little League, right?
I don't
Thinking
know
about what your
sports stuff. Is that what that
future
is?
would be. You thought, whatever I become, I just hope I'm the type of person that supports independent podcast.
I just like to sit back and see where you go.
This is the part of the show where like I'm just wasted, like my brain. I'm not actually wasted, but like my brain is just mush.
It's mush.
Stuff just comes out.
Yeah.
So anyway. Hey, next week, your pick.
Next
what are we doing?
week, we are doing It Could Happen to You from 1994. It's 101 minutes, directed by Andrew Bergman. I just want to say,
yes,
this might be, out of all the films we covered,
whoa,
Nicolas Cage's performance is going to be the most grounded.
Yeah, so I haven't seen It Could Happen to You.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for it for that reason. But what I know, it's about. This is what I know. It's about he plays a cop, or a bus driver,
a cop,
someone in a uniform, yeah. And he splits a lottery with a waitress, or something.
Yeah,
that's all that I know about it. But I figured that this might be a grounded performance, which he has a lot of, by the way.
But I'm excited what we covered. Like,
right, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to enter it. I'm just saying, like, I think when people think of Cage, it's all like crazy, crazy, crazy. But he's actually got very interesting, grounded roles.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to experience that.
Yeah, and tonally, it's very different than the past 3 that we've covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's good. Because we want to see his breadth.
And this was my intro to Nicolas Cage.
Fascinating.
A child. As a child. And so I brought this up to my mom and my sister, and I was like, guys, remember this movie? We watched it all together. My sister has no recollection of it. And my mom was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, who was I watching this movie with? like over and over. Like this was a favorite of mine.
Were you watching it with your imaginary friend, Grandma Coco?
I might have. Coco might have been there.
Okay.
Along with my other imaginary friends. And then my sister, her favorite movie growing up was The Fugitive. She had a thing for Kimball. So I was like, all right, it's weird when you're a kid and these movies become part of your personality and watch. But yeah, it could happen to you. I'm so excited to watch this and revisit and talk to you about it.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm excited.
That's it. You're excited.
Well, thanks, Michelle.
Thanks, Seth.
And remember, folks, there's what's right and there's what's right, and never the twain shall meet. Until next time, thank you for listening. Have a good one.
Movie Friends is produced by Seth Vargas and Michelle Rubenstein. Theme music by Jean Marie Vargas. Visit us at our website, moviefriendspodcast.com, and please subscribe and rate our show wherever you are listening. You can support Movie Friends at patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. Thanks for listening.
Incoming. Message incoming. Message to Michelle's inner circle. Remember, kids, only Michelle's inner circle can decipher this week's message. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Message number 9. 65. 64. 72. 55. 69. 44. 63. 86. 94. 64. 85. 77. 49. 65. 33. 60. 94. 47. 86. 77. 65. 44. 66. Michelle is counting on you. Do not let her down.